Wow, that's the first time I've heard that one. Shakespeare in the house.
Downward point, big right hand, 3 in a row for du Plessis.
Didn't just shrug off Khamzat's murder talk. He mocked it. And now the fight just got a whole lot more interesting. When Khamzat Chimaev boldly claimed he's not prepping for war, but for murder, it sent shockwaves through the MMA world. Fighters, fans, and media immediately took notice. But Dricus du Plessis just hype? Or a sign that emotions are boiling over? Because if Khamzat comes in too emotional, looking to prove a point instead of win a fight, he's walking right into du Plessis' game. Chaotic, unpredictable, and punishing. This isn't just about belts now, it's about control. And right now, du Plessis looks like the one holding it. When Khamzat Chimaev told the world he's prepping for murder, it wasn't subtle, and it wasn't meant to be. The line was raw, unsettling, and it went viral instantly. It sounded like something ripped out of a fight movie, the kind of quote that echoes through promos and sends chills down spines. And in that moment, it looked like Chimaev had grabbed the momentum before the fight was even announced. But then, just as the buzz peaked, Dricus du Plessis responded and flipped the script. With a laugh and a sharp jab of sarcasm, du Plessis said, "Wow, that's the first time I've heard that one. Shakespeare in the house." No panic, no counter threat, just dry humor and total calm. So did Dricus just downplay one of the most intimidating lines we've heard in a title build-up? Yes, and it was absolutely intentional. This is a man who's heard it all before. Sean Strickland tried the same route. Trash talk, emotional jabs, verbal chaos. It didn't work. Du Plessis outclassed him not once, but twice. The South African champ doesn't get rattled by words. If anything, he feeds off them. And that's what makes his reaction to Chimaev so smart. Instead of matching the intensity, he diffused it. He took the wind out of Chimaev's sails by not giving the quote power. He treated it like a joke, and in doing so, positioned himself as the cooler, more focused fighter. Now let's not forget, du Plessis is no stranger to chaos. He's been in wars. He's beaten elite names. And after a dominant rematch win over Sean Strickland in February, he's coming into this Chimaev fight with serious momentum. He didn't just win that fight. He silenced doubts about his cardio, composure, and championship grit. So when Chimaev goes viral with threats of murder, du Plessis doesn't need to scream back. His record speaks loud enough. And behind that dry Shakespeare line is a fighter who knows exactly what he's doing. He's prepping hard. Wrestling, striking, pace, it's all on the table. He knows Chimaev will likely shoot early, try to break him the way he did Whitaker. But du Plessis isn't Whitaker. He's not showing up to survive. He's showing up to shut down the storm. At the end of the day, this isn't about who talks scarier. It's about who fights smarter. And if Dricus du Plessis is already defusing the drama before the first punch is thrown, that tells you all you need to know about his mindset. He's calm, he's locked in, and he's not afraid of Chimaev, no matter how scary the soundbites get. So while du Plessis handled the prepping for murder line with a smirk and a witty jab, it quietly raised a bigger question, one that's starting to circulate not just among fans, but inside the fight game itself. Is Khamzat Chimaev getting too emotional for his own good? Because here's the thing, emotional intensity is part of what makes Chimaev so dangerous. When he walks into that cage, it's not just a fight to him, it's a mission. He storms forward, looking to overwhelm, break, and finish fast. That mindset got him where he is today. It helped him destroy opponents in the first round, like Robert Whitaker, who many believed was simply too experienced to get caught that early. And yet, Chimaev walked him down, took him down, and tapped him out. But that same intensity comes with risk, especially when it crosses the line from focus into fury. When a fighter gets emotionally invested, when the narrative becomes personal, it can affect everything. Game planning goes out the window. The urge to prove something takes over the goal of just winning. And in a 5-round title fight, where pacing, patience, and adjustment are critical, that emotional edge can become a liability. And right now, that's exactly what du Plessis seems to be banking on. He's calm. He's not rising to the bait. He's done this before. Remember Sean Strickland? Another master of mental warfare. Dricus didn't bite then either. He stayed focused, and by the time the cage door shut, it was all business. He beat Strickland at his own game, not once, but twice. Now, apply that same mindset to Chimaev. If Khamzat comes in looking to make a statement instead of execute a game plan, du Plessis will be ready. He's preparing for the takedowns. He's working his wrestling, sharpening his footwork, tightening up his angles. And if Chimaev comes out too hot, too reckless, he might walk right into one of du Plessis's counter traps. Remember, Dricus doesn't need to win the early rounds. He just needs to survive them. Because while Chimaev fights like a sprinter, du Plessis fights like a grinder. He can eat shots, he can handle pressure. And if emotions drain Chimaev's gas tank early, Dricus will be waiting to take over. There's also the question of composure. We've seen Khamzat react emotionally in interviews, press conferences, even weigh-ins. It's part of who he is. But against a guy who thrives in ugly, unpredictable fights, emotions might cost him. One wrong move, one missed opportunity, that's all it takes. So is Chimaev too emotional for his own good? Not yet, but the signs are there. And if he doesn't keep it in check, Dricus du Plessis is exactly the kind of opponent who can turn that emotional fire into a burnout. And the scariest part? Dricus knows it. Because here's what's wild. Neither of these guys backs up. Neither gives ground. And both truly believe they're the one who's going to break the other. This isn't just a stylistic clash. It's a full-speed head-on collision. Let's talk mindset. Khamzat Chimaev fights like it's life or death every single time. From the opening bell, it's pressure, pace, power. He doesn't feel his way into the fight. He takes over instantly. If he can grab your leg, get on top, and start raining down damage, it's already a wrap. That belief, that certainty, it's real, and he's made elite fighters crumble under it. But Dricus du Plessis isn't built like most of them. His mindset is equally relentless, but it's forged in chaos. He thrives in uncomfortable situations. When the rhythm breaks, when the technique gets messy, when everything turns into a brawl, du Plessis levels up. And he's not just tough, he's tactical in that chaos. That's what makes this such a dangerous matchup. When you put two fighters in the cage who are both used to being the hammer, someone has to break. Chimaev's used to forcing opponents to quit. Du Plessis is used to dragging them into deep water and drowning them slowly. Both are used to being the one who sets the tone. But this time, that privilege won't be handed out. It'll be earned through blood, pressure, and grit. This fight is less about who has more skills. It's about who folds first when the plan doesn't work. What happens if Chimaev shoots and can't get the takedown? What happens if du Plessis gets clipped early and has to recover mid-round? These are the questions that decide legacy. And don't forget, both guys are huge middleweights. The strength, the power, it's even across the board. This isn't a speed versus size matchup. It's a will versus will collision. That's why fans are hyped. That's why the tension is real. There's no guarantee this fight goes 5 rounds. It might not even go 2. But what we can guarantee, from the first second, it's going to be violent, explosive, and full of moments where everything could change with one mistake. So what happens when these mindsets clash? You get fireworks. You get a war. You get a moment that reminds everyone why we watch this sport in the first place. Because when two men step into the octagon with no fear, no hesitation, and one mission to finish the other, it doesn't matter what the rankings say. It matters who's still standing when it's over. And for Chimaev and du Plessis, standing won't be enough. They want to dominate or be destroyed, trying. This isn't just another title fight. This is the kind of matchup the middleweight division has been begging for. 2 alpha fighters, 2 unstoppable mindsets, 1 cage. Khamzat Chimaev brings fury, power, and pure chaos. He's not interested in points. He's not coming to dance. He's coming to finish and make it look easy. But Dricus du Plessis? He's the guy who ruins that plan. The one who walks through hype trains and breaks them down, piece by piece. He doesn't blink. He doesn't hesitate. He just keeps moving forward. Awkward, unpredictable, and terrifying to fight. Both men believe this is their moment. Chimaev sees the belt as destiny. Du Plessis sees it as proof that nobody can take what he's earned. The tension is boiling over. The talk is heating up. And soon, we're getting answers. So what's the outcome when two mindsets like this collide? Someone gets humbled, someone gets hurt, and someone walks out with their name cemented in UFC history. If you've ever wondered what happens when two immovable forces meet, when both fighters refuse to break, this is it. This is the clash that settles everything. So don't miss it. Hit that like button if you're all in for this war. Drop your predictions in the comments. Does Chimaev dominate? Or does Dricus drag him into deep waters and drown him? And if you love smart breakdowns and real fight talk, subscribe now. We've got every angle covered because this isn't just a fight, it's a moment. And you'll want to say you were here when it all went down.